Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. I came across a thread on Twitter today which I found quite fascinating, and I see this theme over and over and over and over and over and over again, and I don't know if people are ever going to figure it out. maybe part of this theme, the theme of this video, has to do with Bitcoin maximalism. But it has to do with the use of the actual usage of XRP, and XRP being the only cryptocurrency in the history of the world to be used in the commercial production of anything. So I'll get into some of the specifics. It's definitely something that I found quite entertaining. I also want to cover with you something about a coil blogging club, and I'll get into the specifics a little bit later in the video. And then the last piece, this comes from Cointelegraph. It's titled, Joe Lubin, only conceptions of Bitcoin and Ethereum were, quote, immaculate. And it largely, again, does have to do with maximalism, which I will never be a part of. I'm not a maximalist of XRP or any other cryptocurrency, and I never will be, even though this is an XRP-centric channel, and that's the only cryptocurrency I'm genuinely excited about because, again, utility actually matters, as it turns out. So, before we get going here, if you would, please delicately tap that like button, and if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, you done came to the right spot. Go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. So let's go ahead and dig into this. And again, I always like diversity of thought. That's fine, but I feel like a lot of the comments that I see on Twitter, they come from people that, yes, have firm opinions, but aren't necessarily the most educated. And this person seemed to have been looking for some amount of attention, and so I'll show you why. So here's what he wrote. His name's Dea Baron. I don't know if I'm saying that right. That's my best attempt at pronouncing it. So Dea Baron. Say Dea. Hashtag Ripple, hashtag XRP is circling the toilet bowl. Long-term support broken. I believe it's in a downward, maybe breakdown. There's no real use for XRP. Volume seems exchange-generated, artificial. And then tagged a bunch of people, not exclusively, but a bunch of people in the XRP community, including Han Solo. You've got Hammertoe here. You've got XRP YouTuber Alex Cobb. And then you got Tyler Winklevoss, although I would never expect him to jump into this particular conversation. They do not talk about XRP, like, ever, you know. But Matt Hamilton did respond, and he always gives thoughtful responses. He's a kind guy, but he's always happy to set the record straight. I appreciate the approach that he takes. And so he responded to that comment. And he wrote, no real use for XRP. Okay, maybe tell that to all the people that are using it and building things on top of it, or that use it, which indeed makes sense, right? You've got Ripple, then you've got Coil, then you've got Omni, then you've got R3. And so Dea responded to this, wrote, exactly who is using it? Do you know anyone? Have you talked to any exchanges? Don't go by the press release Ripple puts out to drive prices up to sell XRP. To which Matt Hamilton responded, I use it nearly daily, moving value about between exchanges. I also use the XRP tip bot as well. Also, both my YouTube channel and website are monetized via Coil, and I'm paid real time in XRP. Press releases that drive prices up? You must be new here, LOL. Indeed, yeah, press releases. And of course, the joke there being, and I totally get it, I'm on the same board, I'm part of the XRP community as well. I understand the frustration when there's all this good news coming out, and then it doesn't do anything, seemingly anyway, to improve the price, right? Although the point that I always make along the lines of that is, okay, fine, you don't see price jumps typically when there's good news with XRP, pretty much not ever, but it gives investors that are already here confidence, and I suspect the price of XRP today would be much lower if not for the small percentage of us investing that actually do understand it, fully understand it, have very thoroughly researched it, and believe that there's real use, that there's real utility, and that utility matters. There are some of us here, and those are the types of people that would start a YouTube channel like I did, and types of people that would be very active in the community and seek to just get as much information about XRP as possible. So I'm on board with you there. We're all doing that stuff. So anyway, Dea responded, I'm sure, but the larger use case, does banks exchange money transmitters all fabricated, does not exist. And Matt wrote, oh, the use case there is there. Did I say that? Yeah. Oh, the use case is there. That is obvious. Are they using it yet? No, not many are due to regulatory uncertainty, but some are. In other uses, Coil made 10 billion XRP payments last year, and they are not even out of beta. And so I like the realist approach here, as far as what Matt said, in terms of adoption, using the XRP in the way in which Ripple intends for it to be used as a bridge currency for cross-border payments. Well, absolutely. To me, I'm a realist. I'm just not going to pretend like it's used the world over. What I see is something awesome happening, though. I see corridors being built. I see the implementation of xCurrent. I know that over 20 customers of Ripple are using the production version of XRapid, which uses XRP. It's all coming, but stuff like this does take time, and there is regulatory uncertainty, which is, to whatever degree, making it that much more difficult to adopt. But all that sort of stuff will be fleshed out and figured out over time. So anyway, Dea responded to that. Yes, I know the use cases are there, but it will not be Ripple. I know Coil. What does the 10 billion XRP payments amount to in dollars? And Matt Hamilton responded to that. 10 billion XRP payments in this case probably amounts to not a huge amount given the fact that it is streaming micropayments, but the point is it is being used, and there isn't anything else out there in production really that can do this. And that is true. And if you look from a technological perspective, do you think that Bitcoin could do what XRP can do in conjunction with the Interledger Protocol? Methinks not. Certainly not. XRP researcher chimed in at the bottom here and wrote, what about MoneyGram, only second largest remittance company in the world? Totally valid point. Absolutely. So there you go. It's just there's this Bitcoin maxis against to be Bitcoin maxis. And the good news is, regardless of whether or not they like it, reality will continue to set in. The Internet of Value will take hold, and there will not be one winner in the cryptocurrency asset class. There will be others. Maybe Bitcoin will be one of the winners. I don't know. I don't make financial advice here. But I do believe, and I'm happy to share my opinion, that I do believe XRP is going to have staying power for the long haul, decades and decades and decades and longer than that, because it can actually be used, and I see it actually being adopted today, and that's why I'm so happy to be an early investor in XRP. So there you go. Anyway, and then XRP Research Center separately tweeted this out. Everyone is being invited to participate in the Internet of Value. Organizations supporting the long-term growth and development of the XRP, ILP, and IOV ecosystems. And he writes, 1, Ripple's Spring. Number 2, Grant for the Web, which I covered in another video today. That's the $100 million grant thing with Coil. Anyway, number 3, the XRP Community Fund Foundation at XRP_fund. And he writes, my personal favorite. And so it's all coming. Indeed, it's coming here. And check out this. There's community around XRP as well, as it turns out. Now, in this case, it's specifically Coil, but that uses a blend of Interledger Protocol and XRP. So here's a tweet from Ken Melendez, who, for some of you may recall, he is writing a book on XRP, and it's supposed to be out later this year. And anytime he's got an update, I'm always happy to report that. Didn't have one of those today, but not explicitly. But here is what he tweeted out. Introducing the Coil Blogging Club. A place where Coil bloggers from across the land can unite, encourage, and promote each other's work. View the full details here and let me know if you have any questions. So I went ahead and pulled this up. I found this fascinating. XRP community members doing what they do, expanding community. And so he writes, attention fellow Coil bloggers. After discovering this incredible web monetized platform and putting up a few posts, I realized that the online community isn't as close-knit as I would like it to be. Sometimes on Twitter, posts about blogs do not get seen, let alone liked or retweeted. I'm looking to change all of that by bringing us all together in a dedicated Telegram group called the Coil Blogging Club, or CBC. Here we can all come together in a safe space where we can share our thoughts, encourage one another, and of course promote our blogs. This is going to be a group effort as we all participate in the success of this club. And so I'm going to read two other little parts here. Who is this club for, in case you're interested? The Coil Blogging Club is for those committed to publishing their works on Coil.com or on their own website using Coil's web monetization code. If you create video, post it on Coil. If you research and write, post it on Coil. The sky is the limit with this platform currently in beta and already boasts an incredible user experience. Okay, who is this club not for? This club is not for those who post once in a blue moon. It is also not for you if your content is offensive or vulgar in any way. If you join the club but later on begin putting others down, you will be immediately banned this is an opiate. So that sounds perfectly reasonable to me. I can, hey, man, club's club, bro. So anyway, if you're interested in that, and I do see more people jumping on all the time. I was talking the other day about how XRP Moonshine just launched his YouTube channel, which is basically a review of what is essentially his roundup, because he started a coil blog too, just kind of putting together in one spot what all the content providers out there in the XRP space are doing on a daily basis, which nobody else that had really been doing, not in that capacity exactly. So cool stuff anyway. So always happy to highlight what other XRP community members are doing out there. Plenty of room for everybody. So here's the last piece for this video, Cointelegraph.com. Joe Lubin, only conceptions of Bitcoin and Ethereum were immaculate. Yeah, not that evil XRP, right? That was not immaculate. Anyway, Ethereum co-founder and Consensus CEO Joe Lubin has characterized both Bitcoin and Ethereum's conceptions as being, quote, immaculate. Lubin made his remark during a panel with Vitalik Buterin and Yoni Asya at the Ethereal Summit Tel Aviv on September 15th, according to live reporting from eToro analyst Maddie Greenspan on Twitter. To a seasoned ear, Lubin's comment pointedly reproduces a phrase previously used by staunch Bitcoin maximalists in reference to the conceptual and technological elegance of Satoshi's invention, and to the equally shrewd choice of timing for the publication of its white paper. His sleight of hand in extending this characterization to Ethereum's founding could rattle the Bitcoiner's cage, with Lubin's tacit point preempted and contextualized by his co-panelists, Asya and Buterin, the first of whom remembered how, quote, back then in 2013, the Bitcoin community was very maximalist and said that things like tokenization were impossible, to which Buterin added, quote, that was very disheartening because I thought we were all on the same team. In a lot of ways, thought it was fine because it gave us some breathing room, because there's already Bitcoin as a store of value, but for Ethereum, it gave us a more clear use case because we didn't have to try to be hard money. All three panelists are reported to have positioned themselves non-tribally as decentralized protocol maximalists. Okay. Well, I will say this, though. Joe Lubin, while, think what you will about him, smart guy, but the way he comes off, he's talked about XRP, and it's just been made clear. He's been on panels with Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, and kind of joked because they were talking about how the whole Ethereum's trying to get a piece of the gaming industry, and then Brad mentioned somehow they're doing, and then he kind of said something along the lines of, I'd like to see how that turns out with XRP. What XRP can do for gaming it sounded so sarcastic, and it's clear to me that these people just are never they're never going to be fans, I guess, of banks and I don't know, maybe even government to whatever capacity, but that's where they're coming. It's just pure Bitcoin maximalism out there, or in this case, Ethereum maximalism. I don't know, something like that. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!